39.
Yeah.
A couple of things we're going to be talking about today. Food prices jump will hit poor, the World Bank warns. Also, we're going to be talking about other financial news. Ben Bernanke today talking about QE3 and the future actions the Fed is going to be taking, and the economic stimulus that might, QE3, should they do it now? Some say they should save it for an emergency.
It's not going to work.
No.
Either way, it's not going to work.
European.
And we're going to get into that.
The Eurozone has unemployment at a new high rate of unemployment in the Eurozone as their crisis over there continues.
That's right.
In Greece, the police are protesting at new pay cuts done by the government.
Yep.
And
soon to come to America.
Yeah, and Spain is doing emergency bailouts, giving emergency money to I forget the country, but anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of those going on. And a couple of announcements, too, if I may, just very quickly, housekeeping things. Number one, we had a very busy week. You could find my appearances on Alex+Jones on 2 different days, at Steve Quayle as well. Just Google on YouTube, Alex+Jones, Steve Quayle, Alex+Jones, Doug Hagmann, Steve Quayle, or any variation thereof. Multiple locations, and of course, if you are a Prison Planet or InfoWars member, you can find the archives there.
Yeah, and I got to say, he did a great job, by the way. So did Steve.
Yes, Steve was fantastic. I'll tell you, I never want to follow him.
Yeah.
I just, holy cow.
Yeah, and I got to say this. I don't know. I didn't get a chance. I don't think I did last night about Keith Hansen.
Oh.
He was wonderful on the show last night. Did a great job. And as you said, he is an up-and-coming voice, I believe, in radio, and he has a promising future ahead if he continues.
Oh, he will. And folks, the reason I asked everyone to like his Facebook is because to me that we need to stick together. We need at this point. It's so important for us for like-minded people to group together and remember what he said last night. What do we do? I think that was the question. Well, what do we do? Well, to prepare for what's coming. Well, you start talking to your neighbors, your friends, and you basically organize a group of like-minded individuals. Well, we can do that virtually. And I'll tell you something. Although there are, there's obvious surveillance on the social networking sites. They're not going to catch everyone, or if they do, it's going to be a incremental time thing, but it still will serve a great purpose. So I would say, for example, go ahead and like Keith Hansen's Facebook, and then connect with those other like-minded individuals through that social networking platform, the same way we do here. Okay, yeah. That's about Keith Hansen, and the archive is up on our front page. After the show tonight, I'll put up the archives for the last couple of nights. But you've got to listen to Keith Hansen. I got to tell you, what a great program, and Marinka Peshman the night before,
and Steve Quayle and Greg even the night before that.
Oh, it was just an incredible week. And by the way, in our folks, let me just say this: in our closing month, our numbers for August, we've broken all records.
Yeah, I did count those up today.
Yeah,
and last month, we didn't double, but we were close enough to where
we might as well say we doubled.
Improvement.
Yeah, we might as well say. I mean, we're within.
We weren't far off at all. We were within under 20%, and those are. Just say we had hundreds of thousands of listeners last month, and we almost doubled that again.
Yeah. So we're looking at going into the 500,000 to million mark of downloads on our regular shows. And I got to tell you, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm absolutely amazed and shocked at the level of people we reach, and I really want to thank everybody who helps spread the word about the show, who interacts with the show, who supports the show.
And the contributors to the show, again, I'm working on trying to personally thank each and every one of you, whether it's $2 or $20 or whatever, that you've sent. From the bottom of our hearts, what we're trying to do, and here's what we're doing here's what our plans are, of course, because of the time commitment we're putting into the show. We're going to be doing this on a full-time basis, perhaps expanding. We are upgrading certain things that we need to upgrade in order to bring a quality product to you every night. And we're also thinking about expanding into like a longer showtime, instead from 2 to 3 hours. We're considering that.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do that.
I think so too.
And with your help, as we discussed, as probably Tuesday, we're not gonna have a show Labor Day unless something comes up. That's how we have it planned now.
That's how we have it planned now.
We should be working out of with our new setup, thanks to the listeners, with the new operational computer just for the show, so my father doesn't have to, put his computer into overdrive every night.
Yeah, we have to do things the way it is set up now. We've got to do things to kind of overclock. It's a technical thing, but the bottom line is this. Yeah, again, we're trying to bring you the best quality news and analysis show available on the internet. We're not trying to, we're not in a race with anybody, we're just trying to really bring you the best we know how to bring at this point. We're trying to be good stewards with not only the financial contributions we do receive, which we again thank you from the bottom of our heart.
Right, people have no idea how much that helps, and I cannot put into words
even
how much we appreciate it.
Even like $100, an extra
$1,
even $1. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. We set that aside, and we say, okay, well, we've got to get this, and this in order to really be to get things done properly. And that's what we're doing, and we're being not only good stewards with money, but good stewards, I believe, with the information and time. That we're just trying to bring the truth to you. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to bring the truth through the prism of the Christian mindset of the Bible, of God's Word. And not too many people are out there are talking about things like that, and that's what we want to do.
And one more thing about the financial contributions we receive to the show, it also helps other people in need when we can. We receive donations, we share those with people who are in need, or we tithe with those as well. So
that's probably the better word. We do tithe to the extent that we pay it forward kind of thing. If we know somebody is about to lose their house, and Steve Quell has taught me this personally. Hey, if a $50 or $100 contribution or something could help them, put a meal on their table, so we've been spending some time, and if we would call it a ministry, we've been spending time doing that as well. But anyway, look, I want to start the program off here, and then Joe's got some information on his periphery here. I don't know how many people have seen this, but we really want to talk about this. This appeared, I believe it did appear on Steve Quayle's site. It's entitled An Ominous Warning from V, which is his source, his financial source. And the reason I want to open with this is because we've got some independent verification of this outside of Steve's sources. And it has to do with the financial health of you and me and everybody in this country right now, and what's coming down the pike. And here's what Steve's source writes. He said, as Western banking has fallen, and notice he's used the past tense. Anyway, as Western banking has fallen and the continued sinking of the Anglo-American financial slave system is being played out in what I call plebeian theater, with characters the likes of Soros and Rothschild begin to make public declarations of the fall of a currency, meaning the euro, that they have months ago moved out of, I thought it was prudent for me to outlay the post-collapse world that many of you will emerge, in which many of you will emerge. Now think about this, okay? Now we're talking about a post-apocalyptic, this is after the financial collapse. So what's it going to look like? Well, first and foremost, cash is going to be dead. The new means of exchange will be all digital. And we can see this now edging forward with our ATM cards and things like that. As I write this, the framework and outlays are already in place that will have all digital transfers / transactions occurring on the highest speed data networks. Now that's already in place. This will be supported by a new smart chipped credit card and debit cards, as well as smartphones that many of you are fond of. Now, folks, think about this. If you've got a smartphone, you can scan barcodes. You do a lot of things with those, you know. So you can also pay bill. I mean,
You can pretty much do anything on a smartphone now that you can on a basic laptop. You can you can even get Skype on your cell phone, like you said, pay bills.
Yeah.
You know, you can do all your online banking. It is really incredible the amount of technology. And even back when cell phones first started coming out, you told me, you know, there's more memory on the cell phone than there was on the first rocket that went to the moon, or the rocket that went to the moon. And that always was hard for me to comprehend in my mind.
Well, look, the smartphone payment system will be called NFC, Near Field Communication. Folks, remember that, Near Field Communication. That's what it's going to be called. These systems will conjugate into a thorough, predictable digital database.
We're working on reading afterwards.
That, thank you. Yeah, numbers tomorrow, and I'm going to try to color in the lines. Okay. A digital database that will allow the banks, corporations, and governments to have a clear understanding of who you are. So in other words, there is technology within these chips that will identify you. In the monetary world, you are what you buy. Us bankers can tell the very person and character you are by the very things you purchase. And that's true. I mean, you know, if you're hung up on technology, if you're hung up on, well, how about this? You go to, for example, Sam's Club or Costco or one of these big box stores, and you know, you've got this customer loyalty card or this membership card, and you buy all of a sudden maybe $500, $600 worth of food. Well, you do that 2 or 3 times a week. That tells people, what are you running, a soup kitchen or, you know, a pantry for the homeless, or are you stocking, prepping foods? That's what they're looking for. In the monetary world, you are what you buy. Now, this means also, and think about this, it will not simply be your credit score that a bank will look at before giving you a loan. Not that anyone right now should be out getting loans. I understand the reality of the world, but hey, how about a character score in addition to the credit score? Wow, jeez, character score. Just to see if you're an enemy of the state. And again, this is so important because now we're seeing, you know, we're seeing the full-blown MIAC / you know, domestic terrorism coming into play here.
Like Bush said on September 11th, 2001, if you are not with us, you are against us. It's that mentality.
Well, it is, you know, in that respect, I completely agree with you. And they're doing their best to make everyone against them, and it's us against them or them against us mentality. Now, so there, you know, there's going to be a responsibility quotient built into these to see if you're a frivolous spender. The smart card NFC system will coincide with the internet identification that we are working on as well. So just think about that. So in order to log on to the internet, you're not going to be able to get online without identifying yourself.
Also, there's talks of attacks.
Well, that's right. Your web logons will be tracked, and you will be looked at alongside your purchases, all digitally controlled and maintained.
And I want to jump in here and say, you know, that is already under.
That's what you said. This is already going on.
Justice Department is being sued right now for hiding secret NSA surveillance programs, and it talks about that they have failed to adhere to the Freedom of Information Act, and that the people inside the NSA say that there is so much illegal spying going on through phones, texts, emails, computer monitoring illegally.
That began on 9/12.
They said that they think every American, you know, has been surveilled and has, you know, some form of information.
There's everyone that has been has been under surveillance since 9/11. Look, the center in Utah that they're building or have built currently. Now, this is information that I received earlier today. It verified that the people that work at this NSA center are amassing this data on huge servers. Yeah, this individual said servers. I'm not sure that's a correct term, but humongous hard drives, if you will. And what happens is right now they don't have the ability to monitor in real time unless they've got someone active, like an active surveillant, or a person under surveillance, I should say. Otherwise, everything is being stored in these database systems, and using a certain set of criteria, they can call up your phone calls, your log of your phone calls, in fact, a recording of your phone calls, as well as a lot of other things. They can call that up. And so if they're interested in Doug Hagmann, we'll say all they have to do is say okay to the operator. Let's see what we have on Doug Hagmann, and bang. Not only your smart card purchase or your loyalty card purchases at the supermarket, your membership card like the Sam's, Costco, whatever those big store box stores are. It's all together. Your medical records, all of this now is in one place. Now, he goes on to say that he fears that this system that is already birthing out there before us will eventually evolve into some sort of implantable chip. Oof. You see these are all the moves. You see these are all moves for the sake of ubiquitous computing and what transhumanists. Thank you very much. Wow.
Sorry, I gotta laugh because
the transhumanists. Well, I won't get it. That's not exactly transhumanists, right?
They're missing a couple. They're missing
a few things. But I understand. And futurists call it singularity. So remember that as well. This is what's called singularity. There, these two movements or fields of thought are funded and fueled by the elites of the banking system. Now, let me interject something here that V does not have in this. I was talking to a gentleman today, and thank you, Sarge, and he was involved with, or he has gotten information from people who run these elite tactical training schools, where you bring 400 rounds of ammunition and your gun, and they teach you how to shoot in tactical situations and urban situations. These are some pretty expensive schools. There's a whole new clientele now with these schools. Guess who they're catering to the most right now? Joe? Anybody?
I'm sorry, I was not paying attention.
Yeah, so, okay, you weren't paying attention. No, we're going to take points off for that.
No, I was just getting an article from...
folks in the chat room, I'll tell you what, who do you think in the chat room, and I'll just toss this out there. We've got a really special grand prize if you win. It's a Maserati. No, who do you think that these new tactical shooting ranges are? Who do you think they are? Now, this is not according to this source.
Tactical shooting ranges.
Yeah. Who do you think that the new clientele are? Not Al Qaeda. No. Not Muslims. Not Girl Scouts.
Really? Not the Girl Scouts? You'd think by now they'd be buying ammo too.
Not the National Weathermen. Well, okay. I'll tell you. No one gets the Maserati. Sorry. It's bankers, financial, high-end financial people. So, my question is, why? Well, of course, there's something coming. There's something coming, and they want to protect themselves. Now, I've got to tell you, out of disclosure, and I'm very proud, and everyone should be, I'm very proud of this, to know, again, Mr. Keith Hansen, who we had on last night. Mr. Keith Hansen is a business, and he owns one of those tactical training schools, and he teaches. So I mean, that last night's guest has a lot of talent, and he teaches these people. Now I don't know if of course he teaches in a specific niche market, but he knows all about this. But in this one area in particular. And this is an area in a state near us where there's a really big population of high-end bankers, I guess, for lack of a better term. He said that the last couple of classes there have been just an enormous number of bankers that have been taking these tactical shooting classes. Now, okay, so anyway, I'm going to go on with this V's warning here. And again, he fears that this system that is already birthing out before us will eventually evolve into some sort of implantable chip. Well, wow, obviously the healthcare bill that talked about the implantable chip on medical class 2 and 3 medical devices. Yeah, you can see that things are being set up for this. Now, the bottom line here is your freedoms will be conditional and your privacy non-existent.
And they already really are that way, except for the small illusion of freedom we still have.
Yes.
But our privacy is completely gone.
Yes, yes. Long ago, he says, you Americans and much of the Western populations have become the human collateral, and as your economies are being killed off by design, you will emerge as the new serfs on the new plantation we call Earth. It's kind of a broad, wow. There are no further warnings that I can give any of you that I have not already said already. Not said already. If you still have money on paper, then you are a fool of fools. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that means, having money on paper.
Well, look, a lot of people who are thinking ahead of the collapse, if there's going to be a collapse, basically, in their mind, they say it's, like us, it is inevitable, unless something drastic changes.
Oh, I think, yeah, it's a matter of when, not if.
What people are advocating doing is already in their community, setting up communities where trade, bartering, getting local community farmers and businesses to start bartering with silver and gold instead of the cash, getting away, us moving, like China's doing, getting out of the dollar system.
Right.
We need to find a way to do that. If we can find a way to do that before this economic collapse comes, and, we might be able to save lots of lives in places where this is set up, because this would help, curb some of the uneasiness, unrest, the worry about where you're going to get food. If you have these barter systems and the people who have the resources to do this already set up and on board with it.
When I get finished with this, I want to move in very briefly into an email I received from a listener, and this blew my socks off when I read this, because you talk about someone who knows and who has lived through something like this. The information I got from this email was just absolutely terrifying to me. But anyway, again, so my question is, if you still have money on paper, then you are a fool of fools. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I don't think he means paper money. I think he means like a 401k or I don't know.
Savings in a bank with your cash instead of through food and metal resources.
Well, yeah, but I do suppose, that look, I can't. No, I'm not going to speculate on this. But anyway, let me continue this. If you are still sitting around wondering the if and not preparing for the when, then you are a bigger fool. What more signs can you seek? How many more signs do you need? The accounts are being swept. Metals are being suppressed, even at $1,650 plus, referring to gold, of course. War is in the air. Your country is about to declare martial law. Many of the elites have left or have emergency relocation plans already activated, and that's been confirmed by numerous sources. I myself am hunkered down. Prepare. If you have read my alerts from the beginning, you will see a clear progression of events that is playing out right before your eyes. You will see the handwriting on the wall that Steve Quayle, at stevequayle.com, has been warning you about for years. Now I'm warning you too.
Yeah, I want to just let you know, a side note, Keith Hansen is in the chat room.
Keith, God bless you, my friend.
Yeah, hello, and thank you for a great show last night.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, man. I got more, in fact, I got a phone call today who said, I heard that show, and I want to have that man on the air just because he's just so knowledgeable. Keith, I didn't get a chance to call you, but I'm not going to say on there who it was, but we'll talk later. All right. But that leads me into this email real quick, and then you can get into some of this stuff here. But this kind of buttresses what this warning was about. But this is an email from a listener. I'm getting
Skype notification.
Oh, okay. I didn't know all these. I'm getting.
While you're doing that, I'm going to read this. Getting into this population control. There's actually two articles. One is on population control. The other is on what you were talking about, the martial law. There was I mentioned this headline the other day, and the Russian expert predicts martial law. Obama will declare martial law in America by the end of 2012. Now, excuse me. Starting with population control, this gets into Obamacare, covering free permanent pregnancy prevention for all, including children. And there's been a lot about Obamacare. There's a clip going around. I'll post a link in the chat room, and it's from the Mark Levin show. And I sent this to you earlier.
I read that, yeah.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, it was a neurosurgeon who was driving. This is back from November of last year, neurosurgeon returning back from a conference who are saying that anyone over 70 years old who has a stroke or any type of hemorrhage or occlusion in the brain, they are going to just offer comfort care rather than intervention.
Right. There will be a team of ethics committee that will decide whether you will get, the treatment you need, instead of the doctor deciding, saying, hey, this person needs, this brain treatment X, Y, or Z. These ethics committees are going to say, well, we can save the money, just, give them some Tylenol.
Yeah,
and send them home.
But as this brain surgeon, said, you're not going to find anyone at 2 o'clock in the morning after somebody gets rolled into the emergency room to convene any group of people to convene to offer their to approve some intervention. And by the time they do, it's going to be too late anyway. So Sarah Palin was correct when she was talking about death panels.
Right, and we talked about that. And it's they're taking the decisions away from the doctors, putting them in the hands of people who, for all we know, are working with the population control agenda, probably are, and people, even younger people. We could do a whole show on the ills of Obamacare, what that's going to cause. You just look at the other models of socialist health care, like in Europe, for example.
It doesn't even. Look, it's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Just look at the DMV. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Although those are state-run, but still, that's government. Look at what's going on.
And they continue with this population control push through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We covered that, the afterbirth abortions that they want to do by defining a person being, becoming a person as being sometime after birth, 3 years old.
How about 15th trimester abortions? What do you think about those?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Because they say the eugenicists say these afterbirth abortions are needed because babies are parasitic, forget the term they use, parasitic burden on society is what it was. But people are up in arms about the contraceptive coverage mandate. Some are now just beginning to realize that the free coverage extends to sterilization for women, including female children. Sterilization is a procedure where a woman of childbearing age, usually as young as 12, can have surgery to permanently alter their reproductive system so they can never become pregnant.
Folks, can you look?
It's a lifelong form of birth control.
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, can you imagine? I mean, was there anything that was this even on your mind? Could you even? Could you imagine this?
And with this, and with the afterbirth abortions, the doctors who put the presentation together stated that society should not only enable mothers, but should also force mothers who are in hard times economically, who have a baby, to get rid of the baby because it is a burden to them financially.
Yeah.
Should force them to kill their baby.
Well, it's incredible. I mean, it really is. But before we go into that, this is a person, and this kind of has some of that element in there as well. This person said, "Look, I read your article. I saw your article about Obama holding up the elections. Horrible, but a refreshing viewpoint since I have been practically screaming it for a long time. I hope you will take the time to read this." Now, this is an email from a listener as well as a reader, and it struck me. And I'm not going to read the whole email because it's quite lengthy, but I just want to cover a couple of different points, and I just want to read the initial paragraph. This is from Ellie, and thank you, Ellie. she says, due to the recent presidential orders Obama has signed and the fact that for some reason Mitt Romney told the Republican House members to pass a bill that would allow presidential orders to bypass the House and Senate and be put into effect in the case of martial law, I'm concerned that Obama intends to cause situations that would allow the declaration of a state of emergency and martial law before the election. Now, I've been convinced for a pretty long time that this is his plan, and frankly, there's nothing that was going to stop him. Now, unless the military steps in. She writes, he's not even a U.S. citizen, but our elected representatives seem to be ignoring that truth, which causes me to doubt either their intelligence or their integrity. How about their intentions? That's my opinion there. They are playing politics with our lives. They cannot out-legislate him. He ignores what he wants to ignore. He is a Hitler. He is Hitler all over again. I am including a letter I have sent to many people. I am a nobody. No, Ellie, you are a somebody. We're all somebody.
Yes, important somebody.
And thank you. You know who you are for talking for our long conversation yesterday. Thank you. Anyway, no, thank you, Angie. Okay. Anyway, I am okay. One of my ancestors, and this is what really got to me here. And folks, listen carefully to this. One of my ancestors was prisoner number 38, Wilhelm Aug, who was in the group of the first 50 political prisoners that Hitler had placed in the very first concentration camp. Obama has followed in Hitler's footsteps and is now in a position to take control over this nation. If no one stops him, please read the following. Please, I beg you to read the following. This is, I'm sorry, it wasn't from Ellie, it was from Norma Aug Dowling. Okay, now, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want to tell you something. Anyone who can say that their ancestor, was prisoner number 38 with the first concentration camp, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And so, hey, Rachel Maddow. Okay. Hey, Rachel Maddow. Hey, Chrissy Tingle Matthews. Hey, Ed Schultz. Listen to people like this. Not get off your script.
And yeah, I want to sidetrack a little. We'll come back right to this, but I heard a good audio clip from Rush Limbaugh today. I almost uploaded it for everybody so we could play it here, but it talks about how now MSNBC is so desperate as the mouthpiece for the Obama administration, that everything that you say against Obama, whether it's on his policies economically or foreign policy or domestic policy,
it's the Ministry of Information for the Obama administration.
Everything is racist.
Hey,
you say
Chicago.
Yeah,
let's do that again. Stereo. Chicago. That was pretty good. See, that's the thing.
I mean, that's how desperate they are. They have nothing left. I mean, if you're voting for Romney, they say it's because you're voting for or you're a racist and you're voting for him because he's white, he looks white or whatever. It's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
No, what is
these people are not offering
of Chicago or what?
These people are not offering legitimate or even reasonable arguments or debates to their audience, and the worst part about it is the audience believes it, listens to it, and regurgitates it out at their job or picnics, or people, you're at a family reunion and you have somebody starts a political discussion, and if the person says something bad about Obama and you get attacked like you just said, you just blaspheme the name of God.
At the kids' table.
Yeah, I mean, they treat him like he's the Messiah or something, and if you talk bad about him, you should be shunned by humanity. Well, people like that, they're the ones that need to be shunned by humanity until they learn the lesson that Obama is a mass murderer and just following along the satanic globalist agenda, just as Mitt Romney, I think, will, but that's another time.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, just very quickly, because this is quite a lengthy email from Norma Dowling, and I want to thank her for sending this in. It says, to whom, this is an open letter, to whom it may concern. I'm sure that you know that the press conference by Sheriff Aparo, Sheriff Joe, revealed about the absolutely forged birth certificate. If Obama was able to produce proof that he was even a U.S. citizen, he would have done so long ago. Okay, let's see. Obama has followed the, and of course, I'm skipping portions here for time purposes. Obama has followed the pattern very closely that Hitler used very successfully to take control over Germany. Except Obama is moving much quicker than Hitler was able to. Now, don't forget, this is a person whose family member lived during. It lived in it was under the Hitler was in the Hitler concentration camps. Many laws that are already enforced, such as Obamacare, have hidden deep within their numerous declarations laws that will help Obama to annihilate pretty much anyone he wants to. As you mentioned, okay, about over 70, you're called a unit. Bang. You don't get you don't get intervention. You get
unit care. That was one of the things the caller from the Levin show stated, is that patients are not referred to as patients nor people, but as units.
That's right. So, Hitler began very quickly removing inferior citizens to euthanasia centers he created all over Germany. Again, reference the November 2011 caller to Mark Levin. Would you like to see a picture of the last baby killed in one of them right before the liberating armies took that area? I'm sure she's got one. The appointed panels of non-medical personnel under Obamacare will decide the fate of millions based on their usefulness to the state. Who's valuable enough to deserve medical care? Are you? Maybe not. Do you honestly believe that just because legislation removed the sections that literally ordered counseling for assisted suicide, that it will not be implemented by the panel? Obama has shown just how much he thinks of the House and Senate and the Constitution. When they disagree with him, when he wants to do what he wants to do, he simply ignores them. They have become obsolete in his regime. What began for me as a genealogy search has become my worst nightmare. Again, I am a relative of prisoner number 38, William Aug, born July 27, 1910. Who was one of the first 50 people arrested by Hitler and detained without due process of law simply for being in an opposing political party and being vocal about Hitler's agendas. In 1933, Hitler arrested 100,000 people from the political parties in Germany who objected to the Hitler regime. And this is after, of course, they labeled them political dissidents and threats to the nation. What are we seeing here?
Sounds very familiar.
It's right. The political leaders of that day thought that through legislation they could control Hitler. Think about that statement now. They were wrong. Hitler was a lawless man who moved outside the box they trusted. Hitler fought dirty, and so does Obama. Before the legislators in Germany grasped that fact, they had already been rounded up and placed in the very first concentration camp created in an old abandoned warehouse in the middle of a town named whatever this town name is. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. I wonder how many FEMA warehouses there are in each state at this time. I wonder just what improvements have been made to them. Improvements in quotes. The legislators said no and actually stopped him, sort of. Obama has the United Nations forces, which he is allowed to train in our cities to back whatever moves he makes. He has the new Black Panthers who are growing in numbers, and who are stirring up race riots as part of the plan to declare a state of emergency. Obama has so many directions he's created to pave the way to easily cause the situations necessary to declare a state of emergency and ultimately martial law. Some, but not all of those easily manufactured reasons are, and I'm going to go very quickly here. If 10% of the population appears to have a pandemic type of illness, a quarantine can be instated for the safety of those not infected. Martial law can then be declared. They don't have to prove it's a pandemic type of flu to do so. The head of the CDC only needs to suspect a possible outbreak. I found this out when a CDC nurse in St. Augustine suspected that 10% of the people in one of our nursing homes had the flu. Well, hey, you know what they did? They locked it down, only allowing workers in and out. They refused, that's the CDC, refused to allow any family to enter the facility to check on their family members who resided there. I wrote to a news show in Jacksonville and asked them to check it out. Shortly thereafter, the doors suddenly opened, and guess what? The test showed there had been no flu. If martial law is declared, the first step Obama will order is the removal of personal firearms to, quote, protect the public, just like Hitler did. One more thing, and this buttresses with the first story. Another possible valid reason to declare a state of emergency is if the dollar goes into a steep decline and the bank doors are closed, much like in the Great Depression. Well, this can be declared by the appointed Obama, head of finance, when those on the dole and those on food stamps and ordinary working people get faced with the demise of the dollar, which has been orchestrated to occur soon when whoever has the power pulls the plug. There will be undoubtedly rioting, panic, all this in the public sector. The answer? Well, protect the citizens. Martial law, the removal of personal firearms from the public.
Yep.
And lastly, and I think this is important as well, martial law, which another valid excuse for declaring a state of emergency in martial law would be allow the wiggle room in the present NDAA law to allow for the arrest and detainment of U.S. citizens without charges for an indefinite period of time, totally removing their rights as citizens. Again, just like Hitler did. Questions? Ask prisoner number 38. And the state of Virginia has obviously was obviously concerned enough to drop and quickly vote on a bill by a margin of 36-1 to refuse to obey any part of the NDAA law. And there are another 2 pages here, but folks, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Now this she says, I'm a housewife. I'm not a stupid one, but nonetheless, I've got no connections. She writes anywhere. If you are unsure of my premise, please investigate. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a politician. I'm just a normal person. But I believe there are ways, always a way, to do something, no matter what the naysayers proclaim. So let's do it. Spread the word. Keep spreading the word. You've got to educate the people. The will not to protect we the people. They will assist in our incarceration for simply speaking out against the Obama administration. Folks, let's prevent that from happening. And I want to thank the writer of that very lengthy, very well thought out, very articulate email. And we should keep that in mind.
Yeah. Moving on here, this kind of controversial issue, praying for Obama. This is a billboard that has stirred controversy over a Bible verse. And
yeah, isn't that something?
In Victoria, Texas, the Secret Service is looking into a sign posted there. The sign says, pray for Obama, and the scripture quoted below the words is raising eyebrows, Psalms 109, verse 8. And Mr. Milton Neischt Jr., who has lived in Victoria since 1961, said he didn't intend for people to pick up on hateful wishes of death and pain surrounding the tiny verse, but some say it's hateful and inappropriate.
Well, here it is, the Bible being hate speech now.
Well, listen, I mean, it's not hate speech at all.
Well, it's hateful, isn't it now?
No. What it says, I think, is let his time be short and him be removed from office. Or here, it's not in the article. I thought it was. Here, I have it right here. Psalms 109, verse 8.
That's right. That's right.
Which reads as follows, and it is very short. Let his days be few, and let another take his office. So now, this man...
So how can that be? How can the police be investigating that?
Well, some people say it's hateful and inappropriate. They say it misuses the Holy Scripture, and it must come down. Milton recently received an email from a friend and decided to post it on his advertising billboard along North Navarro Street. He had no idea of the firestorm or the controversy that this would create. The person who interviewed him, who wrote this article, speaks to his character, this James Munoz.
It says pray for, the sign says pray for Obama, Psalms 109, verse 8.
Right. And he asked him, what does it mean? You know, what do you want, what do you want people to get out of it? And this Milton says exactly what it says. Hope he's gone soon and somebody different takes his place. And
what's wrong with that?
The code enforcement of the city of Victoria says they don't review content of signs. They said that they would only get involved if the sign affected traffic. But anyway, they're taking the sign down. He's taking the sign down because he has received many death threats to him and his family. And he says he wished people would act appropriately, and he in no way intended for anybody to get harmed or to be harmed. He just wants hate mail to stop, and he hopes that people will react with the same graciousness that he has reacted with and leave his family alone. That's what the interviewer and the writer of this article says.
Right.
That the hate mail should stop, and he wishes that people would treat this man like this man treated the reporter and treats other people, which is probably, you know.
Look, anyone who would complain about that, what if, okay, now I would dare say that if there was a quote from the Quran, for example, that it would be, the sign would be controversial, however, not subjected to this hate that's behind it.
And we have to protect free speech, rather, if we agree or disagree with it. I think on Monday we reported on a story about prison not allowing for Muslims to read the Quran in prison, or it was a violation of their free speech. And if we don't stick up for that, how can we complain if we're in prison and are not allowed to read our Bibles?
That's right. And I don't know.
I don't have to agree with it.
Free speech, the greatest test of free speech is when you don't agree with the content and you find the content, you know, objectionable. You don't agree with it. That's when you should allow. I mean, free speech has nothing to do with the content to the extent that it's not seditious or not provoking violence. Certainly, the Psalms 109, verse 8 does not do that. It's not even suggestive of that. So I think I think in this case, it's not only an attack on Obama, but it's an attack on Christianity, given the fact that it's from the Bible. So yeah. I believe that. A couple more emails here before we go further. I just want to really.
Yeah, you were talking about reading these emails on the air today, and
well, yeah.
I mean. I want to hear. I want to hear them too, because I haven't had a chance to read.
We've just been. I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to thank each and every one of you who send in emails. I mean, I've got emails from 3 different continents here, and I don't know how many states, but it's just you guys are amazing, and thanks for all of the information. We are getting information that are allowing us to connect some dots as well.
And I want to say I've received a few emails about the caller from France, the lady from France.
Yes.
Saying, you know, what a wonderful caller she was and how informative. Something about, you know, what she said resonated with a lot of people. And,
yeah.
They responded positively.
Yeah, and she had written that email that I read, I guess it was yesterday or the day before, which I thought was just a fantastic email. You'll have to get that from the archives. A couple of things here. This is from Catherine, and Catherine is, in fact, I just got a couple of more emails from her just now. Catherine, thank you very much for sending the emails in. I'm not going to give your last name or location or anything like that, but she said this. She said, I read your story and saw you on InfoWars, the InfoWars interview you did. Keep Birmingham on your radar regarding event, race, class, economy. Birmingham, Alabama. Okay, Birmingham is bankrupt and has all the usual problems of a large city, USA. Alabama banned Agenda 21 and passed immigration reform. Federal attorneys entered to enforce civil rights and environmental justice. Well, that's a bad sign. And prior reports suspected that Obama could be victim of white hate crime. If you in InfoWars can validate and report, it may avert. So what she's saying is, look, watch Birmingham for perhaps ground zero in some type of an attack.
I just wanted to bring this to your attention because I know we had the guest on this week and we didn't have a lot of time to cover a lot of the news that was going on, but there was an article in here that somebody was, here it is, soldier suspected in double homicide plotted to kill the president.
Right, and nasal spray, anti-suicide nasal spray plus this.
This is out of southeast Georgia, okay? 4 Army soldiers based in southeast Georgia killed a former comrade and his girlfriend to protect an anarchist militia group they formed with the intention of overthrowing the U.S. government and killing the president, prosecutors say. Now, this story is, you know, important, I guess, if all is what they're saying in here is true, but this goes on to, we're seeing these reports, and
some of these
I look at these as
up.
conditioning.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they did have a militia to overthrow the government. Maybe it wasn't specific in saying they wanted to kill the president. I mean, we don't know what is propaganda and what isn't in this case, as we haven't had time to get police reports or look into it. But, you know, this is more the conditioning. You'll see more of this. Militias, you know, brought in for detention over communications, you know, talking about, you know, killing the president. Or you'll see this propaganda. And if this continues, you continue to see threats against Obama, one man incarcerated. You know, they're building. Kind of like how every day we see the Iran-Israel situation. There's articles about the war, coming war. That's the conditioning, getting us ready to know that there's going to be war. So when it does come, we're not surprised by it.
No, and I received an email from someone who urged, and it might be from Catherine as well. In fact, I know it. Okay, here it is from Catherine. She said this: a new executive order today, that's the 31st day of August, just had to check that, about helping veterans active duty and families get mental care. They are amping up the game to intervene. Veterans and military must be briefed about the current events and be made aware of potential danger. Now, what I believe she's referring to is they are portraying, obviously, our veterans as potential, well, not only as having potential health or mental problems, but as potential risk to society.
Let me say this: a good friend of the show, his son was in the military, lived in another state, I think it was Utah, moving back to the state of New York, has 6 guns, some given to him by family, some military guns, and he had to have them taken from him when he moved back, and he had to get new permits, state permits for New York for each gun, and they confiscated his guns, and they'll give them back to him once he is issued a permit.
Okay, well,
I mean, this is, in my opinion, this intervention between people and their guns when moving from state to state is completely unconstitutional. It's a whole other issue I have to look into to see how much actually
long guns, not handguns either. I mean, there's long guns that...
I'm talking about rifles, shotguns, handguns, all the guns, okay? And, you know, in my mind, that's just, if you're the veteran who just put his life on the line in battle for this country to protect the people and the freedoms and liberties in the Constitution of this nation, that he comes home, wants to move to a different state. He has to hand in his weapons because they don't trust him enough. They have to issue him I mean, that is complete craziness in my mind.
I agree, and thank you, Judy McLeod, founding editor of Canada Free Press, CanadaFreePress.com. Folks, everyone go to that site, bookmark that site, CanadaFreePress.com. Judy just sent this in. Obama signs executive order to improve, notice that word, to improve veterans' mental health care. It goes along with what you were saying. He signed today, Obama signed, or will sign this executive order to make improvements to mental health care and suicide prevention services for veterans, which we'll announce at a speech in Texas. Basically, the order instructs the Department of Veterans Affairs to hire 800 peer-to-peer support counselors for mental health care and increase the VA Veterans Crisis Line's capacity by 50% before the end of the year, and order the VA to work with the Department of Defense to develop a national suicide prevention campaign, and for the VA, DoD, and Health and Human Services to conduct a study about the causes and treatments of post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury. But then Catherine, see, and this is where it fits together. Now, Catherine writes, and I've got to, let me just put this together here because she makes a good case. what they're doing is they're saying, okay, look, we want to help you. Yeah, I'm going to just kind of paraphrase what she's saying. She's saying that the Veterans Affairs and Department of Defense to the veterans, we want to set the system up for you. We want to help you. We want to give you the best care. But what happens is a condition of that assistance is you turn in your guns, you are going to be gunless, defenseless basically, because you are a risk. Just for asking for help, you are now a risk, a mental health risk, and you cannot own your gun. So think about that. Just think about that catch-22 and that circle jerk of an arrangement. I
got another article on the mental health soldier, veterinarian gun issue. We're going to cover that on the other side. Also, we're going to take your calls. Call in at 661-244-9839.
We do have some callers
will be the first caller we get to on the other side of the break, which we are going to take now. You're listening to the Hagmann and Hagmann Report this last day of August 31st, 2012. We'll be right back after these short messages. Thank you so much for being with us. And stay tuned. A lot more coming the second hour.
And we do hope, by the way, you have a great weekend, holiday weekend. Hi folks, Doug Hagmann here. You might know me as the co-host from the Hagmann and Hagmann Report, or as a frequent guest on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. If you're like me, you're tired and confused over today's headlines. You just don't know where to turn for accurate, concise information about really what's going on, what's truly going on in today's society. If you don't know where to turn for accurate, well-researched, and properly vetted news, I've got a suggestion. In fact, it's a requirement. Bookmark Canada Free Press. That's canadafreepress.com on the internet. It's just not for Canada. It's for news across the world. Judy McLeod, founding editor, has put together a vast array of talented writers like Kelly O'Connell, Daniel Greenfield, Dr. Eileen Johnson-Powell, a lot of guest columnists, very talented writers. Folks, that's Canada Free Press at canadafreepress.com. Now mobile friendly. Follow on Facebook, because without America, there is no free world.
Survival of the fittest. In any and all situations, survival is your #1 priority. That requires being tough and thinking smart. And the folks at Freeze Dry Guy are going to help you do just that. They have the long-range patrol ration entrees, what they call the Brick Pack. When you're in survival mode, it is absolutely the best item for your survival pack or bug-out bag. You can go farther, faster, and carry more food with the LRP cold weather ration entrees. Not only do these long-lasting, durable entrees help sustain you or your family through the harshest environment or situation, they are by far the most delicious of their kind. No contest. With a variety of tasty entrees, you can't beat the LRP Brick Packs. Let Freeze Dry Guy help you in your survival situations. Go to freezedryguy.com. That's freezedryguy.com, or call 866-404-3663. That's 866-404-FOOD.
And folks, I got to pop in here. Go to HomelandSecurityUS.com. That's HomelandSecurityUS.com. Click on the right banner, Freeze Dry Guy. Give them a call. Tell them Doug and Joe sent you from the Hagmann and the Hagmann Report. Tell them what you need. Tell them your family size. Tell them your level of preparedness, and just say, hey, help me out. Give me some recommendations, because, folks, freeze-dried food is becoming a little bit hard to get, and I would suggest doing it sooner rather than later. And again, HomelandSecurityUS.com, right-hand side, click on the ad. Just take a look. Browse browse what he's got, and give him a call, and he'll work with you. It's really a painless and a very informative experience.
You better wake up fast and listen to this, America. The Obama campaign has launched attack squads disguised as truth teams dedicated to intimidating and silencing all political dissent carried over the internet that criticizes the Marxist Obama. Truth squads specifically focused on covering up Obama's endless trail of lies, corruption, and subversion, and using the Gestapo power of our own government to police and censor the internet and shut down websites that dare to carry the real truth about Obama's Marxist coup. Remember the names of these Gestapo-style agencies that work right there in your neighborhood: KeepingHisWord.com, KeepingGOPHonest.com, and AttackWatch.com. KGB, SS, and Gestapo-style police-state gangster organizations at work to silence the important voices of patriot dissent, some of which have already been shut down by Obama's orders. Adolf Hitler would have been proud. We're the 21st century Tea Party patriots.
If you are stumped, you don't know what kind of gift to give to a friend or a loved one, I'm telling you, you must go to 4physics.com. That's the numeral 4, PHYSICS.com. This is your one-stop shopping palace. That's the only way I can put it. I could spend easily an hour on this website. Innovative, fun, educational. There are games, books, weather instruments, unique time-telling devices, jewelry, optical devices, laboratory equipment. Let me give you an example. We all know we can tell time with a sundial. You've seen those advertised. Did you know that you could tell time by the stars? At 4physics.com, you can buy a horologium nocturnum. This was a navigational device used in the 15th century by navigators at night to tell time by the stars. It's beautifully crafted in the shape of a pendant made of bronze and pewter or gold and silver. Absolutely a stunning gift. I would be proud to give it to anyone. You must go to 4physics.com. Even if you're not stumped, that's 4physics. That's the numeral 4, PHYSICS.com. It's your...
Doug Hagmann. One guy that doesn't need a bullhorn to get your attention.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to hour number 2 of this last day of August 31st, 2012. You're listening to the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. My name is Joe Hagmann, my co-host Doug Hagmann. Together, we are the premier father and son radio show on the Internet, found on Blog Talk Radio, also live streaming video at Homeland Security US 1.tk.
That's right.
With that, before we go to Vernon, I just want to cover this one story. U.S. drone strike kills 8 suspected militants in Yemen. And this article goes on to say, I mean, we constantly talk about the drone strikes, the illegal wars that are carried on, the multiple countries that are being droned by the president. And they say that it was not possible to verify the details by Washington for them to verify the details of who was killed in these drone strikes, but they say that the attacks have been stepped up by the unmanned aircraft, especially this year, and in a statement issued by a southern Yemen cleric, they said that one of their priests or clerics were killed in the drone strikes and had no ties to Al-Qaeda whatsoever, and they say this is hard to confirm because it's in a remote area of Yemen, but this just is continuing to show the use of murder and violence, unprovoked violence by our government unlawfully. But with that, we're going to go to Vernon. Vernon, you're on the line with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
Gentlemen, God bless. How's everyone doing?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I just was listening to you, and as always, we make mention of Hitler in comparison to Obama. But can we take a little trip back into time, gentlemen?
I'm with you. Got your time machine all warmed up there, do you?
Yeah, I have it all warmed up. Okay, because when we talk about Hitler, who funded Hitler?
Well, the Western banks, actually, Prescott Bush being one of them.
Thank you. Thank you. You said it right there.
But
the Bushes have been in play ever since then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Operation Paperclip.
Right. Okay. That's not the only one, though. Okay. We could talk about Hitler. We could talk about what's his name? And I should Stalin, Mao. And I was in question. I was in question about Chairman Mao. I was in question about him. Okay, but we can also talk about Ho Chi Minh.
Yes.
All right. We can talk about the Marcos. All right, the one out of Nicaragua.
Odinga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, America, wake up. Is there some kind of scenario that, you know, it fits right there? Every time we call somebody a tyrant, America done trained them. We done, our tax dollar fed them. Okay? We put them in power. Didn't we do that with Saddam Hussein?
Yes, we did, and we did that in Operation. What was the name of the operation, Vernon?
I don't know the operation.
No, I'm not talking. Iran in '53.
I don't know.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
But I don't know the name.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But yes, you're 100% right, man.
Every last one that we call a tyrant, they came, they were trained, they was educated. Okay, by American tax dollar, every last one. All right, and now today, even Morsi was what? Trained in the United States.
Oh yeah, he went to school here. Yeah.
Okay, every last one.
The tyrants and the militants.
Okay.
Terrorists.
So now we have to stop and think. You know, what are we doing wrong?
Well, where do you start? That's a great question, Vernon, and I wouldn't say so much the regular listeners of this show, or the shows like Pastor Begley and other people, the people who are doing things. I'd say the American people who care about sports or TV or their own lustful desires more so than the well-being of our nation and the people of this earth.
Right. Right.
So you know, Vernon, what do you make of that, though? I mean, look, are we? Boy.
The bottom line, Doug, is everything was pre-planned long before you and I both put together were born.
Yeah.
The elitists have an agenda.
Yes, they do.
They are bent on the destruction. I remember the one president that we had who tried to warn the American people. It is redundant for a free society to entertain secret orders and secret societies bent on the destruction of an entire nation. Okay?
Right. Now, which president was that who tried to warn us?
JFK.
That's right. And you know, now, Vernon, let me ask you a question. I'm not sure how old you are.
I'll tell you. I'm not ashamed to tell my age. Come next month. No, next month. Well, next month, October the 15th, I'll be 60.
Okay. All right. So I'm in shooting distance or stone. Well, I'm not 69. I'm like 39. But okay. Yeah. The reason I asked that question was Eisenhower. If you recall, Eisenhower warning about the military-industrial complex. I
was a baby.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
But was he a good guy or a bad guy? I mean, I'm trying to put this in perspective. I'm trying to learn here.
Truthfully speaking, Doug, I don't know.
Okay.
That's before I even took interest in the politics of it. It's before I even took interest in the theology of it. Okay. So I really can't answer that question. It has to be somebody a little bit older than me that can really relate to that. I'm not a historian. Okay. I'm reflecting back right now because of I'm looking at for Jesus Christ to say come up hither at any moment, and I'm looking at why is at what point are we at right now, and why? Okay, and so I'm starting to look back as to I can relate to Vietnam and that point on.
Right.
I can relate to that. Okay, and I can correlate that. But beyond that point, I can't say. I'm not qualified to say.
Well, we can study it, but
yeah.
just as you did, you know, in identifying Prescott Bush and the Bush family, and of course Henry Ford. You know, there were people betting on both, Americans betting on both sides. Well, I shouldn't say Americans only, Americans and British betting on both sides of the war. World War II, and Prescott Bush was one, and of course you've got sundry names, you know, big banker names.
And that's who it's all about, the bankers.
Exactly.
Because if you look at history, from what I understand and from what I do see of it, World War I, what happened? The markets crashed. World War II, the markets crashed. Right now, I was listening to you and Steve Quayle on Alex+Jones and the other gentleman. The market is about to crash.
It is.
At the very time that all the big guns are sitting up in the Middle East and they're locked and loaded. At the very same time, our troops are. This is about 10 years ago, Doug. I was listening to a preacher, and it was confirmed, so to speak, by a state senator. I forget his name. Okay, they were telling us that, and this is about 10 years ago. They were telling us out of worldwide, there's about 130 wars worldwide taking place right now.
Right.
Of which the United States are engaged with troops on the ground in 100 of those countries.
Yeah, it's amazing. If people knew that the countries we're in right now, it would just blow people's minds. I mean, what are there? I think there are 167 different countries in the world, and I think we're in 100 and.
Well, that's 30 more than I heard 10 years ago.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, look, I'm not sure of the number, but yeah, you're right.
But you got the drift. In other words, our regular troops. That's why we called out the reserve.
Yeah.
Because when I was in the military, the reserve was called the weekend warrior. Okay.
I remember. I'm ashamed. Well, I remember that. Yeah.
Then you do a summer's training, and that was it. Oh. But now the reserve troops are just as equipped, just as well as trained as the regular troop. Okay. So now all are abroad. They're gone. They're not here. What do we have here? Oh, let's see. We got Russia. We got France. We got Italy. We have. Okay.
That's right. No, you're right.
Everybody but American troops is on our soil.
But see, you know, let me ask you, Vernon. Okay, now, let me ask you a question here. All right. I believe, and boy, I got a lot of, for whatever reason, I got a lot of emails really taking me to task on this one this week. But I believe. Well, no, about supporting Israel. I believe that we need to support Israel. Okay?
We have to. We have to.
But there are so many people who say, hey, you know, basically, Doug, you're a real idiot because you're being played. You're being played by the globalists if you support Israel.
Israel as a people and as a nation, God's nation. We don't have to support the government if they're carrying out criminal activities.
I understand that, but how do you separate that? But Vernon, okay, so you're right. We have to support Israel. But
how do I answer that?
Yeah, well, I was going somewhere else with that, but go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. No, go where you're going with it.
Well, okay. Actually, Vernon, I lost my train of thought. I guess. Well, no. Here's the situation. We're in Afghanistan. We're in Iraq. We're over in the Middle East. We're bogged down. We don't have the troops, and we're engaged in wars. You know, you talk to Marinka Peshman. She could tell you horror stories about what we're doing to the troops, the rules of engagement, the hamstrung. You know, sending out the troops with 200 rounds of ammunition when they should have triple that on their patrols. Anyway. The script for us, I mean, you know, the big joke is, how do you say Vietnam in Russian? and the answer is, of course, Afghanistan. You know, but here's the thing. I guess we're going to enter into, or do you believe we're going to enter into yet another war, that being assisting Israel, or do you think we're going to throw Israel to the wolves and back out of this? What's your thought process on this?
That's a good question, because given our administration right now, all right, and Pastor Paul will tell you, when it comes to Barack Obama,
right?
When it comes to Benjamin Netanyahu, when it comes to Assad, when it comes to Ahmadinejad, and all these possible, and what's his name from Russia, when it comes to all of them, okay. Here recently, I have been calling them, men who speak with forked tongue. Okay, and I wrote to Pastor Paul one day, and I said that, and Pastor Paul responded to me, and I was reading his response, and the Lord said, they are speaking with the tongue of the serpent.
Who's they?
All the men of the earth.
Okay. Well,
all the leaders of the world. Because at 1 minute, understand something. 1 minute we have Benjamin Netanyahu. Right. It tells the United States, tells the President of the United States, this is a few months ago, told the President of the United States, look, we're only going to give you a 12-hour notice before we strike Iran.
That's right.
Now we're being told by Benjamin Netanyahu, you have up until October, I think it is, the 25th, or September the 25th, before we strike.
Well, Vernon, I don't know whether you heard this. This is coming out today. Netanyahu got into a diplomatic shouting match with U.S. Ambassador Dan Shapiro over U.S. Obama's handling of Iran's nuclear program, saying time has run out for diplomacy.
Right. See, I missed that. I did miss that.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, this is incredible. A source that participated in the meeting said that a particularly angry and stressed Netanyahu began a tirade against the U.S. president, attacking him for not doing enough on Iran. Instead of pressuring Iran in an effective way, Obama and his people are pressuring us, meaning Israel, not to attack the nuclear facilities. And Netanyahu uncharacteristically went ballistic. Right. And said, look, time's run out, and basically told Dan Shapiro, the U.S. The ambassador, to like Clint Eastwood in his thing yesterday, said, go,
make my day.
and go, yourself, okay? So that's the newest set of information now.
Well, here's what God has to say. I'm still in control.
That's right.
That's right. I don't care what the men of the earth have to say. It's my time clock that you have to go by.
Amen.
Okay?
Amen.
And here's the message to the saints. Fear not. Okay? At one point in time, men's heart are going to fail them for fear of the things that is yet to come upon the earth. But for the saints, if you put all your faith and all your trust and all your love in the Lord Jesus Christ, and I did a video, okay, I'm worried about nothing. I think David said it best. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil.
Right on.
The Lord is with me.
Right
okay?
On.
So regardless of what the rulers of the world are saying, I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on one thing. What thus saith the Lord Jesus Christ and the Father.
Amen. I mean, that's the only person we need to be following and worrying about what he thinks of us and worrying about, what he wants for us. He's the only decision maker we need in our lives.
I get what's the saying, that we make plans and God laughs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, think about that. I mean, it's serious. But look, the book's been written. We already know what's going to happen. We know the ending of the book, and we got a lot of real estate between the end of the book and now. But But yeah, that's the answer, Vernon. But
Doug and Joe, you do a phenomenal job, because I was listening to, like I said, your show, especially when you did you and Steve Quayle was interviewed by Alex+Jones.
That was listening to you, by the way.
Oh, that was powerful.
Well, you know, it's number 2 on or number
InfoWars
top 5 on
the second most popular article on his InfoWars site, and also if you just hit the browse category on YouTube,
it's like the top 5.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, and Vernon, while you're on the phone, ladies and gentlemen, we do have an announcement that we are going to make at 1:45 the hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some good news for next week.
Yes. And you're gonna have to wait until 1:45 the hour. We're gonna have a very special and a very unbelievable announcement. So it's kind of related to a little bit about what you said, but anyway.
Okay. I'm gonna have to get you. I'm gonna have to get you and Joe on the show. I'm getting ready to put together. I have a gentleman who is a bishop, and his specialty, he gives lectures in secret orders and secret societies. All right, because when I was in the military, I learned one thing: know your enemy and know what they're capable of. And we have to know our enemy. We have to know where they're coming from and what weapons they have in their arsenal. And as believers in the Lord Jesus Christ, what weapons we have in our arsenal. And Doug and Joe, and I'm going to invite you, and I'm going to invite Pastor Paul, because I want everyone to come together.
Okay.
All right.
Look, I think that's a great idea. You know, Vernon and folks and ladies and gentlemen, look, from the bottom of my heart and with every fiber, really, you know what we need to do right now? We need to get together, all of us together. I mean, virtually speaking, put our egos at the door, put our differences, any petty differences that anyone's got, put them at the door. Let's get together and form a formidable opposing force to the satanic, demonic,
But Doug, I hear you, and I understand what you're saying. But when you're in the body of Christ, when you're one in union with the Holy Spirit, there are no differences.
Oh no, you're right.
Because you are one in the same family. You have the Father, you have the Son, and you have the Holy Spirit. 3 separate entities.
Yes.
But union, they are one. And when we become part of that body, we become part of the one.
Oh, well,
you know, and at the risk of sounding whatever, you know, resistance is futile.
I hear you, Vernon. Hey, we got a lot of other callers on the line.
God bless you,
get to. So, thank you so much for calling in.
And everyone keep looking up for the King of Kings.
Right on, man.
Amen. Thank you, Vernon.
Thanks, buddy. That's our good friend, Vernon. I'll tell you, who's going to celebrate a birthday next month? We've got to make sure we send him a cake.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Let's go to the phones. Back to the phones. Area code 631. You are on the air with the Hagmann and Hagmann report.
Hello. I don't believe it. Hiya, Joe and Doug.
Hi.
Hey.
It's Dave the Garbage Man from Long Island.
Dave the Garbage Man. Dave from Long Island.
Recognize that accent?
Yeah. Great to hear from you. What's on your mind?
Just want to say, yeah, Vernon, you got it, and I hope that, you know, you're my brother, and if I ever, I probably bash Obama, and it has nothing to do with racism. I just wanted to say Ray Charles sings America the best of all. I love his song. I think he does it the best. I think Stevie Wonder, where he sang, Isn't She Lovely? I think that's a great pro-life song. And so those are my 2 things that I'd like to say about that.
Cool.
I'd like to say a quick hello to Sheriff Joe Ipolo. If I was younger, I'd like to be a deputy under you, Sheriff. I'd take a bullet for you.
Wow.
And, yeah. And I just want to say, Hussein Obama, how come you never did an investigation on those 22 Navy SEALs that were put on one fat Chinook helicopter? Or was that like, were you involved in that kind of a setup, just like Fast and Furious? I'd like to know that one. I mean, we didn't even see their bodies coming off the jet with a casket over there. You know, that really PO'd me. And,
did you see?
You know,
did you see the report that the Navy SEAL wrote a book about that contradicts the report about the government's how they say that Obama was carried out.
Right.
They say Obama. Now this new book by a Navy SEAL says Obama, or Osama
It's
bin
an
Laden
easy mistake to make.
Was dead or killed himself before the SEALs entered the room, and now the Pentagon is going to sue this Navy SEAL for writing this book.
Look, you know what? I don't know if I don't know what the real story is there, but I do know that it's not the official narrative.
Well, their whole thing is do as I say, don't do what I do. Come on, these guys are more corrupt than Al Capone. They go after Al Capone. They make Al Capone look like a choir boy. You know, I mean, you know, unbelievable. I just want to say this also. I just want to say, you know, I'm 60 years old. I'm a little older than Vern. Next time he comes on, I'd like to know, was he on the lottery or was he drafted? No, he couldn't have been drafted. He was either on the lottery or he volunteered. I'd like to know that from him when he comes back on.
Okay.
But I'm 60 years old. I'm a little older than him. And I'm hurting, suffering financially and physically. So I really don't care what they do. But they're not going to take me alive, I don't think. Well, I'm just saying that.
Yeah, if it comes down to it, I think a lot of people are going to stand their ground, and like I always say, like hell, I'm going to die on my knees. I'm going to die on my feet, and you know, you're going to have your work cut out for you, you know, taking me out if I have anything to say about it. You know, maybe not, maybe I won't, but I will not bow to you or die on my knees. And I think a lot of people will agree with me on that. And you know, and you know what? I hope it never comes to that. I really hope it never comes to that. I hope that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They could do me a favor and take me out in the way and send me to my Lord, because I'm really hurting physically and everything like that, Doug. So, and financially, and
well,
so I know, you know. But anyway, I just wanted that's my own thing. I just wanted to also say, if there's any active military listening overseas, please, guys, we suffer here knowing that you guys are killing yourselves. There's been 35 suicides. Please, guys, don't do it. Don't do it. If you got to do something when you're cleaning your gun, your rifle, your pistol, shoot your toe. Take your toe off and get out. All right? Better to lose a toe than to lose your soul into hell. We're suffering here, too, knowing what you guys are going through over there. We're carrying the cross here. Please, guys, don't do it. Don't kill yourselves. All right? My heart goes out to you guys. I love you guys. I could be your father. I'd love to see you all. I'd love to hug you all, but I can't. And I just want to say this. Freak you, Obama, I'd like to know why you became a Christian. I'd like to, you know, how, well, I'm saying this.
I think you're making a leap there, but okay. I don't think he became a Christian.
Well, I'd like to know what made him become. And I know I'm only sarcastic about this. I don't believe he's a Christian. I'm trying to say what I'm getting a little mixed up here, but I just want to say, how the heck can anybody follow Muhammad, a guy that got it on with a 9-year-old girl?
Well,
this
yeah,
guy was a pervert prophet. And you know, I'm Dave the Garbage Man from Long Island. Muhammad was a pervert prophet. How the heck could he have a relationship with a 9-year-old girl? Wow, man, he scored big getting a 9-year-old in bed.
Well,
wow,
I think it's been historically corrected that she was 13 when he actually consummated the marriage.
No, and it's biblical.
Really?
It's biblical in nature.
Nine got married at 9. However, 13 was the consummation.
Yeah,
Muhammad. Again, you know.
And I want to take this back to a biblical verse I reference frequently is 2 Timothy chapter 4. And it says, for a time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, And anybody who wants an eternity with 72 virgins, and that's their goal, to have that eternity, instead of having a eternity of love and righteousness, having the goal of being able to procreate with virgins. It's just the whole fundamental, that belief is so wrong morally. I don't understand that.
Well, yeah,
their visions of heaven, how that is in any way morally right. It's just very questionable.
Listen, being I'm on the phone here with everybody, and I can't go in the chat because I don't know how to do all that, but I can see what people are saying. I can make a move down to go south. I was thinking of Texas or Florida, or staying in New York with all these Democrats, Schumer and Bloomberg. I love Texas with that governor down there. I think he's really a good governor, and I do like the Republicans down in maybe, in Florida. Maybe some people I could look at the chat after I hang up. Not yet, please, but give you a little opinion about what, where you think maybe I should be. Not that I'm afraid, but just that I like to be with people of my own kind. You know what I mean?
I think it's about time. Plus, you'd save a heck of a lot on taxes.
Yeah.
Being on Long Island there, it's I'll tell you, we spent 18 months.
I'm in an apartment complex, and I got a deputy sheriff living 2 doors away from me, and I was at a Catholic grounds a couple of days ago, and as I was exiting, I saw another different deputy sheriff car out there. I don't know if he's on a cell phone or just whatever doing, but I know I'm getting followed around. That's my feeling, my gut feeling.
Could very well be, but
stay safe, and we're gonna have to let you go. We got a whole list of callers.
Yes,
I appreciate your call.
Sorry I can't help you guys. I can only pray for you guys and put the precious blood of Jesus on you. I got really no money.
Hey, that's help. That is all the help we need.
Dave,
God bless America, and God bless the troops. God bless the troops.
Yeah, and look, Dave, I'm a little concerned about you. Send me an email. Let me know about your situation. All right.
All right, Joe.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
God bless you.
Nice.
Thank you, Dave. All right. We're going to continue with calls here. I'm going to go to one more call. We got Chappie on hold. I'm going to go to this other caller. I do not recognize this number. Maybe a new caller. Then we're going to go to Chappie from the chat room. Area code 323. You're on the air with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
323. You're on with Doug and Joe. Area code 323. Going once. All right.
Put them back on hold. All right. We are going to go to Chappie.
Yeah.
I make sure I get this.
No,
right.
It's my understanding, Joe, that Dr. Chappie wants to ask a couple of questions of us, and that's fine. So let's rock and roll with that. Dr. Chappie, are you on with us?
I am here. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. It's our understanding that you want to interrogate us.
Yeah. I just thought it would be interesting for the roomies and for your fans to find out a little bit about y'all. When, how did this program originate? Who came up with it first, and how did y'all go about getting it where it is now and getting it on BTR?
We really don't have a clue, to be honest with you. No, here's the deal, in a nutshell. Back in, right after 2001, I began doing some radio with Kathleen Keating, and then from there, coast to coast, being, interviewed on Coast to Coast, and then it kind of, it blossomed into other shows, and Orlando, huge markets across the country. And then to fast forward to, I guess, 2010 or 11, maybe last year or the year before, Joe and I had an hour show every Saturday. Was it an hour show on Saturday night? I can't remember.
2 hour show.
Or 2 hour show.
Yeah, every Saturday night, 2 hours, and originally started with Judy McLeod from Canada Free Press.
That's right, yes.
And for whatever reason, I don't think she felt she was good on the radio.
No, the reason she left was, or the reason we had to switch things up was her schedule was so maddening that she was, you know, it was like just a pull on her, and she said, you know, why don't you have Joe come in? And that's, you know, okay.
Yeah. And
and then that was every Saturday.
And we started doing that. And we didn't have a lot of listeners at all. I mean, we might have 35 to 50 people in the chat room, and we got picked up by Red State Radio. They broadcast us also.
Not Red State the forum or Red State the website.
Red State Talk Radio. Yeah. Right. And we really just went out on a limb. We got some, you know, really big name guests that, you know, like Richard Gage, who had a lot of, and that was around the 10th anniversary of September 11th. Talk about his organization. We had Ed Haslam. We had some people we haven't had on our new platform.
Right.
We had Standout, a lot of different people, and the show started to grow.
Oh, and let me back up too. Steve Quayle was a really instrumental individual in my life with radio. I subbed for him in his program, and frankly, I really sucked at that. Nowhere near Steve Quayle or the standard he's got now with Hawk and what have you. So anyway, but I didn't omit him on purpose. It was just a
Well, we got a lot of good guests on, and one day I've always watched Pastor Begley's videos. I started watching them back when I was doing the show, and I contacted him, and we had him on the show and did a great show, and vice versa. We went on his show, then he came back on our show, and he was on LBN at the time, and we ended up being picked up on LBN starting at the beginning of this year. We left LBN in May, beginning of May, came back to Blog Talk to work out what platform we were going to continue on, and
it was our best move ever, I got to tell you.
And to back up a little bit here, when we were doing a Saturday show, it was just we were doing something to try to help do something more to provide people with the way we saw things, because my dad was in an interesting place, being a journalist, writing for Canada Free Press, having connections to a lot of alternative, you know, news people, and you know, that really helped. And as we both grew more interested in what was going on in our country and what was going on, especially spiritually, you know, getting put on LBN, and the pastor Begley was very instrumental in.
And so was RPM, and
the listeners in the chat room, and you know, they followed us over here to Blog Talk, and it just, I mean, the Lord has blessed this show. I can't explain how we got here.
Yeah, it's not us. It's really not us.
The Lord has worked miracles with this show, because I cannot fathom so many people wanting to listen to you and me talk every day.
Well,
but
speak for yourself.
I'm just saying, you know.
No, I know.
To sum it up, it really was never designed for us to be radio hosts, and this is what we're doing, and we both enjoy it, and we, you know, love the audience.
That's right.
People we've met,
and to this point now, we've just recently come to the conclusion we're going to be doing this full time, and you know, putting our faith in God for support, and for because we feel that there's a need for the alternative media with the spiritual through the prism of the Bible, and so that's where we are right now. So I hope that answered your question, probably more than you wanted, but
it did. And I know it has been an exciting journey for y'all. I know when we log in to BTR, it invites anybody to start a radio program, and it says free. Is the program free, or what are the expenses that y'all incur with this, Doug, Joe?
Okay, the free program on BTR, what they do is they offer 1 month free programming, a 30-minute program, and that is for 1 month. Then you sign up to become a premium host. There's 3 settings of hosts, three different packages. Each package more expensive than the other, including more features than the other.
Right. And so we pay. We actually pay on a monthly basis to be on the radio, and then what we do, because there are different platforms that carry our show, because we want to reach as many people as possible. There are expenses associated with that, along with the bandwidth of our website
and advertising the show, and
yeah. So no, it's not. This is no free ride.
No. And I want to say, thanks. Sorry.
It sounds like the company, they start you out at one amount, and then after a given amount of time, they jack it up a little bit for you. So,
no, wait a second, Dr. Jeb. No, it's a matter of, as you grow in listenership, you have to. You've got to. You cannot rely on anything free or any small package because it just can't handle it.
Yeah.
We could never handle the volume we have right now. So plus we had to expand to different platforms. And one more thing, because of the attacks we're receiving, we had to set up redundant systems. So if this goes down, we can still broadcast elsewhere via the other means. So that costs money too. So there's a lot of expenses associated with this. Yes.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, Rick Lyles has also had to make some provisions because of threats that he has received. He has alternative plans in case he has to go elsewhere to do his show. Y'all have backup plans as well, correct?
Yes. And they're not just backup plans, they're concurrent plans. In other words, they're always active. We have, let's say somebody pulled the plug on us right now on this platform. You might not notice a difference. There might be a slight blip, and then bam, we're still on the air.
Right. Always look to our website, homelandsecurityus.com, because we will always, if anything like that ever happened, we would continue, to keep you updated that. But with Cuban broadcasting our live stream video,
yes,
at the very least we would still do that, until we had our backup platform up and running. So,
well, I mean, it's always up and running. It's a matter of some gymnastics to get to it. That's all.
Yeah, and helping people find it.
Well, there have been a couple, there have been several programs that you two have had that, man, we did not want the program to end right there. We wanted it to continue, but I know y'all weren't able to. But yet there was a time, like you were able to say, all right, in I think 2 or 3 nights, I think Steve Quayles was going to be on for 3 hours.
Right.
You were able to set that up. Do you have to give an advance notice in order to do that, or how does that part of it work?
Yeah. We schedule the show 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So we're running 2 hours. But if we want to do 3 hours, we can do it because we have the quote premium package.
Yeah, and we are going to do the 3 hour a day show.
And I think we are going to move to that. In addition, since we're going to do this full time, we may have a video show. Think of like Alex Jones and Glenn Beck type operation, the way they have it, and that's where we're headed to. But like in other words, if we want to extend this right now, we couldn't do it based on because we're already locked in for a certain period of time.
Right. Doug, Joe, thank you so much. I hope my roomies have enjoyed this. Thank you for the privilege of doing it, and I pray God's grace, strength, and peace, and His protection be with y'all as y'all continue to borrow from somebody else, 2 great Americans. God's grace and peace be with y'all.
God bless you, man.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chappie, and known in the chat as Dr. Chappie.
Yes.
Thank you for your interaction and your call and
well, it's kind of
your support.
It's kind of neat to think about where we how we got to this point, because I don't know, and it's certainly not us, it's God.
Right.
But before we get into this, I promise an announcement at the 15-minute mark. Here's the deal, folks. Buckle up, because I just got an email from Steve Quayle. How many folks know Henry Groover? You know Henry Groover? Pretty. Actually, if you go to our video Team K9 video site, Henry Groover talked for about 3 hours, and he's just an amazing man. And you all know Steve Quayle, right? Well, you want to tell the people what's going to happen?
Next Wednesday, we will have a special 3-hour program with both Henry Groover and Steve Quayle.
That's right. So, next Wednesday.
I mean, that's going to be a great program.
That's
I
right.
cannot wait. I mean, when I read that that Henry Gruver wants to come on with Steve on Wednesday, I just thought for a second, you know, how I just don't even want to host the show. I just want to sit back and relax and listen and
That's
enjoy.
what we usually do when Steve comes on. We do that. We say, "Hi, Steve, how you doing?" And then we set the headphones down. We'll go about, you know, vacuum cleaning, come back, and and he's still talking. No, I'm just kidding, Steve. Gotta love you, but you know,
yeah, it's so hard to like focus on everything he's saying. 'Cause I have to go back and listen to the shows again. I get so much more out of him listening to him the second time than I do when we're hosting the show the first time.
Yes.
But I mean, what an awesome show it's going to be. I just can't wait.
And that's going to be on Wednesday. It's going to be from 9 to 12 Eastern Time. That's 9 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Time. Henry Gruver and Steve Quayle. Look, I'm not even sure they've ever been on together. I know they've been like in the same room and talking to crowds, but I don't think they've ever been on I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not going to say it, but I'll tell you what. Buckle up, because it's going to be one for the record books. That's 9 to 12 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesday, whatever date that is. And I'm excited. In fact, when Steve sent me the email here like an hour ago, he gave me the date, the day, and you know, and I typed back. I said, "Yeah, okay, you know, just tell me the day and whatever." And I looked at it, and I had to send him an email back saying, "Hey, I'm sorry that I got so excited I didn't even read your email." But yeah, it's gonna be a great show. So pass the word along, and if you have any questions, email me the questions for Henry or for Steve. And the reason I say email me is because apparently, well, we've got to do some things with Joe's email, but he's got a HomelandSecurityUS.com address. It's just not visible on the website.
Yeah,
which that'll be fixed.
And I told a few listeners who I talk to regularly that about that email. It's Hagmann at HomelandSecurityUS.com, but I'm having problems sending emails from that account, even though my Outlook says everything is good and well.
Yeah, okay. It's the 12th of September now. I'm sorry for Henry Gruver. I'm sorry. Wow, I'm off here. That's not the 5th. It's the 12th of September. So it's a week from Wednesday. That's still good. That's still good. It's all right.
Not a problem. But so the 12th of September, Henry Gruver, Steve Quayle.
Yeah.
So now you have a week and a half instead of half a week to spread the word.
That's right.
Get your questions sent to us more time. So
yeah, okay. I just want to see. All right. Well, okay, that 12th versus the 5th. Steve, that was your fault. All right. I got to blame somebody. But look, folks, I'll tell you what, we're winding down the program. This is Labor Day. I don't know how many people have a long weekend. I just hope that everyone does have a safe weekend. But I'm going to tell you something. I think from now, after the end of the holidays, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, I mean, we got to watch all of these 3-day holidays, especially now that we're getting into September, October, November election. Is really going to be ramping up. Now that the conventions, well, we got the Democratic National Convention starting.
Watch that.
Keep your eye on that. The weather really bogged down the what they expected as protesters and you know, large groups of civil disobedience in Tampa. But we don't know what's going to happen with the DNC.
That's right. I have a feeling. Now, you pulled something up here.
Yeah,
folks.
This is something I wanted to cover today.
Listen to this.
Michelle Obama quotes Saul Alinsky in a campaign speech. Last night, Michelle Obama used lines from Rules for Radicals, a radical far-left book by Saul Alinsky, father of community organizing and notorious far-left radical, in her DNC convention speech. She got nailed on it.
Wait.
She got nailed on it.
No, but wait a second. We didn't have a DNC convention. In campaign speech.
In her DNC convention speech.
Excuse me, but we haven't had the DNC yet.
Well, let me pull this up because
I'd like to know
where I got this from here. This was on.
But look, it could have been yesterday, a year ago, or 20 days ago.
I guess it was in a campaign speech, not the DNC convention.
That's better.
This is from August 30th. What to make of Michelle Obama's use of the terms the world as it is and the world as it should be, from whence they originate.
Yes.
Try Chapter 2 of Saul Alinsky's book, Rules for Radicals. Barack stood up that day talking about a visit to Chicago neighborhoods and spoke words that have stayed with me ever since.
Oh, my goodness.
He talked about the world as it is and the world as it should be.
What, does he think he's God? I mean, seriously, that sounds like he believes he's some sort of God.
And all of us driven by a simple belief that the world as it is just won't do, that we have an obligation to fight for the world as it should be.
No, exactly.
But what their meaning of what the world should be is completely different than the meaning of what God's
right. But see, here's
for the world should be.
Folks, but look at this. Quoting Saul Alinsky, you got the First Lady who's quoting from a book that's dedicated to Lucifer. Right. What's wrong with this picture? Why aren't they talking about this in the media? Why isn't Hannity on this? Why aren't these people saying, look, the First Lady is quoting a book dedicated to Lucifer?
Right. But, don't say Jesus. There's no spirituality or religion. Jesus is a myth. Let's go watch some ancient alien astronaut theorists talk about old technology being discovered. If you really get into the ancient books of the Bible where they talk about the fallen angels coming down, giving men the knowledge of workings of metals and technology that was not supposed to be given to them, et cetera, et cetera. But it's so interesting how these people, these Luciferians, these Satanists, deny the existence of Jesus, say Christianity and all religion is a farce used to control people. They put out the movies like Zeitgeist. I mean, I know that wasn't put out by the government, but the intentions behind that, I mean, they put together these humongous atheist organizations with their Media Matters, George Soros funding, globalist funding, promoting the no God theory. They're doing it in all the cable networks. They're taking, Jesus out of prayer at police stations, at school, football games, you name it. They're taking Jesus out of everything. The war on Jesus is fully waged.
Yeah, you think that this is...
I mean, using his name is considered radical. You're considered an extreme religious person if you use his name, I'm pretty sure now. This is how far it's come. And at the same time, these people are evil, worshiping the opposite of what Jesus is, the devil. And, I mean, it's very hypocritical. And these people who believe in aliens before Jesus, or the atheists who say that, God never existed and it's not real, why don't you look at the people who are funding you and see what they believe. They believe in good and evil because they're the ones that are following out and carrying out the evil plans.
That's right. By the way, I just want to let you know, thanks Eric Hayes for this. Mexico seizes 268,000 rounds of ammo in U.S. truck. This is back from April of 2012, but still, 4 or 5 months ago, but still.
He mentioned that, he's been doing something good here, and I'm going to start doing this. He's trying to watch for where bullets are being shipped from the United States. And I think this could have something to do with Fast and Furious. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But we're looking to see where those rounds of DHS ammo go also.
Well, now these rounds, these calibers can be fired in both AR-15s and AK-47s. But think about this, back in April of 2012, 268,000 rounds of ammo, 68,000 rounds of ammo. Folks, okay, where'd they come from? Well, could this be part, like you said, part of Fast and Furious, or could this very well be part of the ammo purchases? Could, it's just bizarre out there. Well, it's Eric, thank you for that. But I mean, it's bizarre. One more thing too before the end of the program, I want to let you guys know, folks. I really would like everyone to like Keith Hansen on the Facebook page, on his Facebook page, so we can get because we really, and also Team K9 and the Homeland and our Facebook pages as well.
Team K9, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter.
Because here's what we're going to try to do, and if I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try to send out not harvest your email addresses, but if you want emails like from us about different topics, like if we do a little bit of an alert of some kind, let us know. because we're trying to develop that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get information to you in real time.
And I have an email list of people, of listeners. I haven't used that lately because I'm still figuring out the logistics of doing the group emails. I don't give out other people's email addresses.
Well, we can, we've got constant contact platforms that we could use. We got a different number, but see, we don't want to spam you. So if you don't want to do that, we don't have to. But the other thing is, real quick, I want to let you know, we're going to have a massive, and I mean a massive update, informational update on our website, HomelandSecurityUS.com this weekend. Please. We're gonna take the time to do that.
And also, somebody commented about maybe a 1-hour show Monday. I'll tell you what, we will do a show Monday if something major happens. But I'm not sure.
I'll tell you what. Check our website, HomelandSecurityUS.com. We're gonna talk about it because it's a possibility. It's not because of picnics. It's because of finishing, trying to put to bed some of the remaining cases that we've got. So
yeah, it's a possibility. So keep your eye out for that.
All right.
I want to thank each and every one of you for listening tonight. I hope you have a great, safe holiday weekend. Stay out of FEMA camps. Stay out of checkpoints.
FEMA camps.
No, just seriously. Enjoy the time with your families. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for your family members. Know that time is short. We're never promised a tomorrow. We need to be grateful and enjoy the moment that we're living in, especially when we're gathered with family.
That's right.
Cherish that time. Spread the word and the love of Jesus Christ. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank Judy and Brian and Kiko. Kiko especially. He's a workhorse over there. And Keith Hansen, thank you. And others, everyone else. All